Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Accessible Parking Awareness Week urges people not to use reserved stalls.
You know, in this kind of weather, and it makes it even more tempting to park there.
The province has launched a campaign to take a stand against violence towards Aboriginal women.
Aboriginal women, the fact is, are 3 times more likely to experience domestic abuse than any other woman.
And people are once again supporting Christmas charities as they strive to meet financial goals.
Santa's Anonymous would not be able to do what we do without volunteers.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. The province and Alberta Native Friendship Centres are asking men to take a stand against violence towards Aboriginal women.
The provincial government has pledged $75,000 to expand the I Am a Kind Man program and support the new Moosehide campaign. The Moosehide campaign asks men to wear moosehide swatches to honor the women in their lives and to show their support for eliminating violence.
The Moosehide will be a visual reminder that I'm proud of our province's Aboriginal women, and I'm standing up against violence toward them.
The government made the announcement on Tuesday as members of the Alberta legislature marked the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
As the price of oil threatens to fall further after Thursday's OPEC meeting, Premier Prentice's government is trying to be more careful with the provincial purse. Second quarter fiscal results show a strong first 6 months of the 2014-2015 budget year, but as oil prices slide, so too does the expected surplus, down from $1.1 billion to just $933 million. Despite the financial blow, Minister of Finance Robin Campbell says Alberta is still in great shape.
Our strong economy and our record population growth, our AAA credit rating, it's all caught the attention of economists, banks, credit agencies and investors. They're all saying pretty much the same thing. Alberta's in great shape.
With plummeting oil prices, the forecast for GDP, population and employment growth in 2015 is well below 2014 levels. Alberta, Saskatchewan and Newfoundland are still leading the Canadian economy.
The Edmonton Police Service is issuing a warning to consumers and retailers as our city is seeing a spike in counterfeit American notes. The fake bills are being used to buy electronics from big box stores like Walmart and Target. Detective Bill Allen says legally, retailers are allowed to ask for an alternate payment method when presented with foreign cash.
My advice to retailers is that if you aren't very sure about the security features and identifying a good American note, then don't accept it.
Police are eyeing a suspect described as a male between 30 and 40 years old with shorter hair, medium build. The suspect is usually dressed in black clothing. If you think you have fake bills or if you have seen the described suspect, contact Edmonton Police at 780-423-4567. This week is Accessible Parking Awareness Week,
which means drivers are asked to stay clear of accessible parking stalls to ensure the spots are made available for those with disabilities. Our Taylor Dennehy joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
The City of Edmonton would like to remind people that the accessible parking is only meant for people with a valid parking permit. Accessible Parking Awareness Week would also like to remind people that laziness is not a disability. Those spots should be left vacant for people who actually need them.
Zachary Weeks is a disability advocate born with cerebral palsy. He has found it often difficult to find accessible parking when he is out on his daily commute. Zachary says he runs into this problem 2 to 3 times per week because of people abusing the space.
You know, Accessible Parking Awareness Week is all about reminding the general public to be mindful where you park. Because with the temperatures getting down to the -30s, there's snow, it's even harder to navigate parking lots when you're in a wheelchair or have a walker.
Zachary isn't the only one facing this issue. Many people with disabilities find it hard to find accessible parking. So what are the consequences for someone who parks in these reserved spots without a valid permit?
Clearly marked above reserved parking and oftentimes painted on the ground, these spaces are made available strictly for people who need them. Yet many people without valid permits for these areas are still occupying the space. Andrew Jabs, coordinator for Parking Enforcement Services, warns drivers of consequences for violating these restrictions.
If we find people inappropriately using an accessible parking space, they could be subject to a $250 fine plus possible towing and impound fees.
Those stalls are there for a reason, and if you are taking advantage of them and you're not authorized to do so, then, shame on you.
People looking to obtain a placard which allows you to park your vehicle in a reserved spot can access that by the Alberta Registry's agent or the Alberta Transportation's website.
So Taylor, who qualifies for a placard?
Anyone who is unable to walk unassisted for 50 meters or more can apply for one.
Are you able to report a parking violation?
Yes, you can contact the Edmonton Police Service non-emergency line. A dispatch will take down all necessary details and send the next available officer out to that location.
Thanks, Taylor. That's Taylor Dennehy reporting live from our news center tonight.
NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
Researchers, high school students, and health organizations are calling for R ratings on any new film being released in Alberta that depicts smoking or tobacco imagery, saying new evidence suggests 1/3 of youth smoking in Alberta results from smoking being depicted in films. Kelly West, a master's student at the University of Alberta School of Public Health, estimates that nearly 7,500 Alberta youth have started smoking as a result of its depiction on films rated G, PG, and 14A.
This is not going to stop every kid from watching any movie with tobacco in it, but there is a dose-response relationship between exposure to on-screen smoking and youth smoking initiation. So that means that the more that someone sees smoking, the more likely they are to initiate.
The campaign for Smoke-Free Alberta is urging the Alberta Film Classification Unit to rate all youth-rated movies that contain smoking imagery as restricted adult. The coalition has submitted a brief to the Minister of Culture and Tourism.
A team of researchers from the University of Alberta have found a new way to fight breast and thyroid cancers by targeting an enzyme that resists traditional chemotherapy and radiation treatments. The team, led by David Brinley, found that by curbing the activity of an enzyme called attotaxin, they can reduce tumor growth by 70% while cutting the spread of the tumor.
We can use pharmaceutical drugs to block this target and interfere with the normal process that the cancer cells have hijacked. And so for me, it would be wonderful if we were able to put this into clinical practice. It would be the crowning glory of my career, I think.
The research is being funded by the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation, Alberta Cancer Foundation, Canadian Institute of Health Research, and Alberta Innovates. Brinley hopes to begin clinical trials this February.
With Christmas right around the corner, many local charities are in need of volunteers in order to reach their goals.
Aaron Bordato joins us live from the Edmonton Christmas Bureau with more on the story.
The Christmas season can bring a lot of joy to a lot of different families, but it can also be a dark time for those less fortunate and in need.
No matter how large or how small, it all matters in the end.
While most families are busy shopping and crossing items off of their Christmas lists, some local Edmontonians are dedicating their Christmas season to providing for the less fortunate.
We also have a strong tradition of caring about our neighbors and giving generously when they are in need.
ETS bus driver Kathy Clifford has been involved with the Stuff a Bus campaign since she joined the company. She, like many others before her, simply had to get involved.
15 years ago, I started with transit, and then I heard about this volunteer, and I went, oh, this is so up my alley, I gotta do this.
The Edmonton Stuff a Bus campaign is just one of the many local charities here in Edmonton. While providing meals to the hungry, the program welcomes a countless amount of volunteers during the Christmas season.
Seeing the reaction on people's faces, walking up to the buses, bringing their donation, whether it's just a can of soup, whatever, just seeing that joy, it's big. It just is heartwarming.
With organizations like Stuff a Bus, Santa's Anonymous, and the Christmas Bureau, volunteers are extremely vital to their success. So important, in fact, that these organizations simply couldn't run without them.
Here at Santa's Depot, we see over 3,000 volunteers come through in a 6-week period, and they put in over 11,000 hours.
Every year, the number of volunteers continues to grow. Organizations are in need of help, and people are responding, which for organizations like the Edmonton Christmas Bureau ultimately brings them one step closer to their final goal.
What we want to do is we want to provide a festive meal for 65,000 Edmontonians in need.
Christmas is a time for giving, and not always to the people we love, but sometimes to the people who need it most. While most charities already have enough volunteers, there are still certain needs to be filled, especially food and toy donations.
Thanks, Aaron. That's Aaron Bordato reporting from the Edmonton Christmas Bureau. NAIT launched the largest fundraising initiative in its history on Thursday.
Today we launched the most ambitious fundraising campaign in NAIT's history.
Essential, the NAIT campaign, is set to raise $100 million to support students, applied research, as well as help fund the Center for Applied Technologies.
Money is for our students and is for bursaries. Our money is to ensure that our students have some of the world's best labs. And our money is to allow us to continue to build the facilities that NAIT needs.
NAIT is more than halfway to reaching its campaign's $100 million goal, thanks to the support of individuals, alumni, and industry.
Some Edmonton firefighters performed a rescue demonstration at West Edmonton Mall this Monday. 8 firefighters from the technical rescue team scaled the Mindbender roller coaster at Galaxyland and performed a mock rescue using a complex system of ropes, hooks, and anchors.
Up roller coaster here, picking someone off the top and then lowering them back down to the ground.
While firefighters do not expect to ever have to make a roller coaster rescue, the demonstration required the same skills that the team uses for real-life rescue scenarios here in Edmonton.
So it's a nice environment, something new we've never tried before, but it basically simulates anything outside, from cranes to cell phone towers to bridge abutments or anything. The training's the same. This is just
the technical rescue team will also train for structure collapse rescues in January.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at how NAIT participated in the Make a Difference campaign.
From Santa's Anonymous to a blood drive, students got a chance to give back to the community.
Because so many people need it, whether it's family members or not. I've worked in a lab, so I've seen firsthand how many people actually need the donations.
Hi, I'm Britt Prendergast, and coming up in sports, I'll give you some Oops hockey highlights. I get in the pool for my end zone challenge, and I introduce you to the newest member of the Edmonton Columbians.
Hi, I'm Evan Kirby. After that big winter storm that hit us, we're in for some cold couple days, but it's looking to warm up through the next week. I'll have all that and your weekend temperatures after the break.
We're dealing with the remnants of that winter storm that hit us Thursday, and it dropped the temperatures actually down into the mid-20s.
Let's check in with Evan Kirby to see how long this cold snap will last.
Yeah guys, it's pretty cold right now, but it's due to warm up as we progress through the week in Edmonton. But let's check in with the other places in Alberta first. First with Jasper, they're pretty cold as the rest of Alberta is, but they're going to see some cloudy skies, so it's really not going to be too great of a day in Jasper on Sunday. Going to Fort McMurray now, where they're kind of in a different situation. They're actually one of the coldest places in Alberta right now. And if you're looking to break out that snowmobile, I'd suggest waiting, because they're only going to get maybe a slight dusting of snow. Now moving on to Calgary now, they're going to have a nice sunny and classic winter day, except it's going to be about -27 as a low, so just keep that in mind. It's going to look nice, but it's going to be very cold outside. Now moving into Edmonton in our region now, after that winter storm passed through, there's some cold air that's taken the place of that storm, and that's what's causing all the cold air right now. So like Calgary, it might look a little better even with all the snow, but it's still going to be very cold for the next couple days. Now with our averages, the same thing with that winter storm, it made everything a lot colder. It's really not too much out of the ordinary as these things tend to happen like that, but again, we are a lot colder than we normally are at this time. Now moving on to our record temperatures, fortunately we're not at that -40 mark set in 1919, but unfortunately that 14 that we set for the high in 1885 is nowhere in reach. Neither are any of the positives as of this moment, but continuing into next week, we are getting progressively warmer with each day, hitting about -10 on Wednesday and going all the way up to 0 by Friday. And believe it or not, it's actually going to be 20 degrees warmer next weekend than it currently is this weekend. And that's been your look at NAIT NewsWatch Weather.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
The Christmas season is the perfect time to volunteer, but many students find it difficult to fit into their busy schedules.
For Make a Difference Week, NAITSA hosted different events around campus that made volunteering convenient and stress relieving as exams approach. Kara Mueller reports.
NAITSA took a busload of student volunteers to Santa's Anonymous on Wednesday night as part of the Let's Make a Difference Week. The week gives students 3 different opportunities to give back, including gift wrapping for charity.
Boy 11 to 12.
Charnane Carrier, a business student at NAIT, found the NAITSA hosted event convenient.
To be able to come with a group that books it for you and provides your transportation is awesome.
Volunteering can be especially difficult to fit into a student's schedule. That's why NAITSA is trying to make things convenient for students by bringing volunteering opportunities onto campus. The next NAITSA event was a blood drive on Thursday morning, where Canadian Blood Services gave 140 students the chance to help someone in need between classes. Stephanie Pierce, a first-year radiology student, said that the clinic was a time saver. She donates blood as often as she can because she finds it an easy way to give back.
So many people need it, whether it's family members or not. I've worked in a lab, so I've seen firsthand how many people actually need the donations.
NAITSA hopes that by bringing events like these to campus, that students will be more likely to participate and realize how easy it truly can be to make a difference. Kara Mueller, NAIT NewsWatch.
Joining us now for sports is Britt Prendergast.
Britt, the Ooks women's hockey team is off to a soaring start.
They are, Bailey. However, they did have a very close game this past weekend against the Red Deer Queens here at NAIT. NAIT Ooks women's hockey team is off to a great start again, sitting at the top of the division with 13 points. First period action, Casey Nicholson dishes to Ashley Graff, who takes the shot with Laura Salmons on the doorstep for the attempted rebound. On to the second period now. Graff tries to poke one in but is denied, and the Ooks get a little physical here. Before the third period, Sherry Bowles gets a quick pep talk. Suze Vanderline looks to have the breakaway, but Ooks' Carly Reeves pokes the puck away. Brianna Frasca, with the nice couple dangles here, gets tangled up and can't get the shot off. A penalty was called, but this one needed overtime. Frasca yet again with a couple pretty dangles and makes no mistake this time getting the shot off. Bang! The Ooks take this and with 34 seconds into overtime.
I think that we really came back from our performance last night. We struggled at our game yesterday, so as a team we knew we needed to improve and we needed to be better and follow our game.
Athletes usually do whatever it takes to get better. In this case, Ramondo Jean has put all of his trust in his adoptive family and left the beautiful Bahamas behind for snowy cold Edmonton. Ramondo has one goal in mind and is set on making it happen.
And I want to run for Canada for the Olympics.
His family hopes to see this happen now that he has joined the Edmonton Columbians track team.
My sister and her husband, Shelley and Ben Kavanaugh, met Ramondo in Freeport, Bahamas, Grand Bahama Island, about 9 years ago, and recognized his ability in track, an outstanding athlete with outstanding potential.
Ramondo is currently training with this very successful club 4 or 5 times a week, working on his times for the 400 and 800 meter. Coach David Lee Pong will be behind him, pushing him along the way.
For him to learn how to do his event well, to learn how to execute his event properly, and of course to get him fit enough to compete at a higher level. You know, he's a pretty good athlete, pretty decent athlete, you know, but we need to make some adjustments and things. And hopefully we can achieve those goals together.
I plan to be here for a long time.
Continue to support all of his efforts in track and so on and so forth. So we're just very pleased for him that he's found this track family.
Hopefully you will see this face one day running at the Olympic Games wearing red and white. The Edmonton Rush kicked off their training camp this past weekend in Leduc. This season's focus is simple: to win the NLL championship. Players like Tyler Condren, who is back after being away for 2 seasons, are pumped to get it started.
Feels pretty good. I mean, after 2 seasons off, feel a little old, like the older guy, but it feels nice to be back and playing lacrosse again in Edmonton.
The Rush training camp continues through the month of December, and the season starts away January 3rd against the Buffalo Bandits. For this week's End Zone Challenge, I wanted to try something that I know for a fact I would never get in the ocean to do. Surf's up at the water park in West Edmonton Mall.
I want you guys to always be aware what's going on towards the back of the pool. You never ever want to get caught by surprise by a wave, okay? A wave coming at you, potentially has a board on it, potentially has a rider.
At first we were told to ride the wave and get a feel for our board. Easy enough. A nice quick lesson, and now it was time for the real deal. The first couple times, I only really felt comfortable jumping to my knees or striking a pose. The number of wipeouts is unknown, and I also got beat up by the waves. Oh, that's how it's supposed to look. A little GoPro action to catch my one decent ride. It was actually so tiring. And my final attempt.
So how do you guys think I did?
You did pretty good. A little bit of a rocky start, but you got
Near
the
there.
end there, you know, I saw the soul surfer in you out there, so that was good.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you.
Brett, you did something I'd never be able to do, but what made you pick surfing?
Well, it was the only place it was guaranteed I wouldn't get eaten by a shark.
For that exact reason, I might have to try it myself.
You should.
Coming up after the break, we went down to Santa's Anonymous to help the less fortunate.
We helped wrap presents to help make an enjoyable Christmas for a young boy or girl.
We also take cash donations and turn those into toys or to buy our supplies, and then we make sure that they get out to the kids that need them.
Hi, I'm Quentin Berger. Coming up in entertainment, Edmonton's Festival of Trees hits town. The Foo Fighters put an old school spin on modern ticket buying, and NAIT students go head to head for the title of NAIT's Top Chef. All that and more coming up.
Hair services provided by Salon and Spa Rocks.
6:30 Ched, Santa's Anonymous collects and delivers Christmas gifts to the children that might not receive them.
Tim and I got a chance to head down to the warehouse to sort and pack up some presents.
6:30 Ched, Santa's Anonymous has one very clear goal: to make sure that every child in Edmonton receives a gift at Christmas, regardless of their family or economic situation.
So we collect toys from all over the place within the city and outside of the city. People donate new toys. We also take cash donations and turn those into toys or to buy our supplies. And then we make sure that they get out to the kids that need them.
If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, visit santasanonymous.ca.
Tonight in entertainment, we take you to see who's the best chef at NAIT.
And we give you a look at the new Hobbit movie, The Battle of Five Armies. Quentin Berger has all that and more.
Things heated up at Ernest on Monday as NAIT culinary students battled it out to be NAIT's next top chef. 10 culinary students, 10 dishes, and 1 top prize. Chef hopefuls went head-to-head in the kitchen to be NAIT's top chef. Contestants were given an hour to make a dish from scratch to be featured in NAIT's campus bar, The Nest. Only catch, the dish had to include ground turkey. With this in mind, chefs spent the next hour chopping, whisking, and frying up pieces of culinary art. Upon completion, dishes were judged on presentation as well as taste, and the judges could not get them down fast enough. Once the scores were tallied and the judges were full, they announced their decision.
And the winner is Chef Tamara.
I'm a first semester culinary student, so really wasn't expecting it.
Chef Tamara Solon won the competition with her turkey Wellington.
Mixed in some bacon, as well as some veg, and wrapped it all in prosciutto, and then in a puff pastry and baked it in the oven.
If you'd like to try Tamara's food, it can be purchased here at the Nest Tap House and Grill. The dish will be made available from December 1st till January 15th. Always a martyr for the spirit of rock and roll, Dave Grohl puts an old school spin on modern ticket buying. The band gave their fans a chance to beat the bots by making advance tickets for their North American tour available at the box offices last Saturday. Hundreds of fans came out and endured the snow, while others did what they could to stay warm. Spirits weren't dampened by the cold, though, not even for Daniel Roy, who'd been in line since 5:30 a.m.
Coming out, you feel like you've earned it more, stay waiting in line, and it's more about the devoted fans, the fans who really deserve to go get the tickets.
Unfortunately, I don't think Daniel knew about the random draw. Once 10 o'clock hit, the number 109 was drawn, and all those behind 109 got to move up in front of him. The Foos are scheduled to hit town August 12th. Pre-sale begins on Monday, and tickets will be made available to the general public on Wednesday. Epic movies are in no short supply for Peter Jackson's filmography, and this December, he adds a new one to the list.
Thorin, you gave a promise.
Picking up right where the second film left off, the movie centers around Bilbo Baggins as he completes his quest to do what, I'm not exactly sure. But the film stars Ian McKellen and Martin Freeman in the franchise's third installment, which brings us to a whole new Bat Country.
For more.
No stranger to special effects, Peter Jackson showcases some incredible talent in which some may call a film for the ages.
For us!
The Hobbit hits theaters this December. I have a double guest pass to give away to the advanced screening of The Hobbit on December 10th. Tweet us at NAIT NewsWatch for a chance to win. For most people, November is the one time of year you don't have to hide your stash. November is drawing to a close, but Movember continues for a few more days. Do You Even Stash, the mustache contest held at NAIT, has its 5 finalists. Ladies, join us around campus from December 1st to 4th to vote on the best stash on campus and win an Earl's Chef table. You can search the hashtag #DoYouEvenStash to get more of your mustache fix. I'm Quentin Berger, and that's been this week's look at entertainment.
This has been NAIT NewsWatch. Thanks for watching.
Here's a look at the Festival of Trees.